I'm Walter Hughes, and I'm 97 years old. But I'm not sitting here today to show you my age. I'm here to tell you why I'm still alive, and why, even today, my body still supports me. My mind is clear, and my heart is at peace. Because, the truth is, I wasn't always like this. There was a time when my life looked just like yours might look today. Fatigue, restlessness, small daily stresses, and those habits we all call normal, and quietly ignore. But then, a moment came when I made a decision. I didn't add anything extraordinary to my life. I started letting certain things go, and those very things changed the direction of my life. Today, I'm going to share the 7 habits I let go of, and how, slowly. My life began to improve, my body started healing, my mind became clearer, and most importantly, I began to feel peace. And maybe one of those habits is still silently harming your life right now. The very first thing I let go of was eating late at night. Now I know that might not sound like a big deal to you, but that small change was the first real turning point in my life. I made one simple rule for myself. After sunset, my body rests. It doesn't work. The first few days weren't easy. At night, I felt that familiar hunger. My mind kept telling me, just eat something. It won't matter. But this time, I stopped myself. The first few days were hard. Then a week passed. And then something happened that, honestly, surprised me. My sleep changed. I used to wake up during the night. Now I started sleeping deeply. Mornings used to feel heavy. Now I began to feel lighter. My body used to feel slow and tired. Now it started to come alive again, and, for the first time, I realized something powerful. My body had always wanted to heal. I just never gave it the chance. We often think we need to add more things to fix our lives, more pills, more routines. But the truth is, sometimes you don't need to add anything new to make your life better. You just need to let go of what's quietly hurting you. And that was my first victory. One small habit that made me believe change is possible. The second thing I let go of was getting involved in every argument that had no peace in it. There was a time when I believed I had to respond to everything, that it was my responsibility to correct every wrong statement, and that making people agree with me was a sign of strength. But then, I tried a small experiment. I decided that the next time someone said something I disagreed with, I wouldn't respond immediately. The first day felt strange. It was like there was noise inside my head. My mind kept pushing me. Say something. Correct them. But I held myself back. I just listened and stayed quiet. And in that moment, for the first time, I felt something different. No conflict. No mental pressure. No replaying conversations later in my head. Just silence and peace. And then I turned that into a habit. Instead of jumping into every debate, I started asking myself one simple question. Will this argument improve my life, or will it just take away my time and my peace? And most of the time, the answer was, though, same? No. Slowly. My life began to change. My days felt lighter. My nights became calmer. And most importantly, my relationships started to improve. Because people are drawn to those who bring peace, not to those who are always trying to win, and I learned something powerful. You don't have to respond to everything. Sometimes, letting things go is the real strength. The third thing I let go of was sitting all day. I didn't go to the gym. I didn't run marathons. I made one simple decision. I will not turn myself into furniture. I started small. I began walking a little every day. I started doing simple things around the house myself. I stood while talking on the phone. I stretched in the morning, even if my body resisted. At first, it all felt insignificant, but after a few weeks, something changed. Something I hadn't felt in years. My body felt lighter. My breathing improved. And a new kind of energy started to return. And the most surprising part was this. My age hadn't changed, but my body was changing. That's when I understood something important. The problem isn't age. The problem is the absence of movement. The body doesn't need comfort. It needs motion. And when you start moving, you're not just moving your body, you're bringing your life back into motion. The fourth thing I let go of was holding on to anger and old resentments. This one was the hardest, because there are wounds people don't want to let go of. They hold on to them, as if they are a source of strength. But one day, I asked myself a simple question. What is this anger really giving me? And the answer was clear. Nothing, except weight. So I made a decision. I was no longer going to carry that weight. Started to forgive, not for others, but for myself. It wasn't easy in the beginning, but every time I let go of something from the past, I felt lighter, as if something heavy was being lifted off me. And for the first time, I didn't just understand peace. I started living it. The fifth thing I let go of was filling my mind with fear before going to sleep. There was a time when every night of mine looked the same, sitting in front of the television, watching the news, listening to the world's problems, accidents, wars, noise, people shouting over each other, and then going to bed, wondering why I couldn't sleep. I used to think the problem was my sleep, but the truth was, the problem was what I was feeding my mind. So I made a simple decision. I will give the last part of my day to peace, not to fear. I stopped watching the news at night. I began distancing myself from noise, and I allowed silence to enter my life. At first, it felt strange. Silence was unfamiliar, but after a few days, that same silence became my greatest strength. I would sit outside, feel the air, watch the sky slowly change its colors, and for the first time, I realized something deep. Peace isn't something you find outside. It only comes when you make space for it inside your mind. After that, my sleep changed. My heart became calmer, and I began waking up every morning with a new kind of clarity. The sixth thing I let go of was saying yes to everyone. There was a time when I believed a good person is someone who is always available, someone who never says no. I helped everyone. I took on every responsibility. And each time I told myself this was the right thing to do, but slowly, I started to feel tired. Not the kind of tiredness in the body, the kind that lives in your heart. One day, I asked myself a simple question. Am I really helping others? Or am I slowly losing myself? And that day, I made a decision. I would learn to say no. It wasn't easy at first, because we are taught from a young age to keep everyone happy. But no one teaches us how to protect ourselves. So I started small, saying no without long explanations, without guilt. And surprisingly, the world didn't fall apart. Instead, for the first time, I started to feel myself again. And I learned something important. The people who truly value you will respect your boundaries, and those who don't were only benefiting from the fact that you had none. And the final thing, the one that changed my entire life, I stopped waiting. There was a time when I used to say for everything, later. I'll live later. I'll be happy later. I'll make time later. But later never came. And then, one day, life taught me a lesson I will never forget. I lost someone I loved, and in that moment, for the first time, I truly understood something. Time never stops, and what you have today is everything. That same day, I made a decision. I would stop waiting. I started living the small moments. I started making time. I started valuing people. I started living my life in today instead of someday. And that was the moment when my life truly began to change. And if you've listened to me this far, then you already know I'm not sitting here to show you my age. I'm here because I've learned something that most people learn too late or never learn at all. I didn't make my life longer. I stopped it from being wasted. I let go of 7 things, and those 7 decisions gave me something money never could: peace, health, and a life I can truly feel. And now, this is no longer about me. Now, it's about you. If you're still listening, ask yourself one simple question. What is that one habit you already know is hurting your life, but you still refuse to let go? Is it eating late at night? Is it pointless arguments? Is it the anger you're holding inside? Or is it that lie of later that you keep telling yourself every day? Because the truth is, you don't need to change everything. You just need to let go of one thing. And that one thing can change your entire life. But this decision, no one can make it for you. Not me. Not your family. Not even time. This choice is yours. So, right now, in this moment, write in the comments, "I am letting go of this habit starting today," and make a promise to yourself, not for me, not for anyone else, but for you. And if you truly want to change your life, save this video and share it with someone who might be silently stuck in these same habits. Because sometimes a simple message can change someone's entire life. And remember, you have time, but not as much as you think. So the real question isn't whether you can change. The real question is, when will you change? Now, or when it's too late?